1976 doğumlu Yuval Noah Harari bir tarih profesörü ve belki de dünyanın en popüler tarih profesörü. Onu dünya çapında bu kadar meşhur yapan şey kendi akademik geçmişinden öte 2014 yılında yazdığı ve insanlığın bugüne kadarki kısa tarihini içeren Sapiens, 2016 yılında yazdığı ve insanlığın geleceğine bakış yaptığı Deus adlı kitabı ve 2018'de yani bu yıl yayınlanan 21. yüzyıl için 21 ders adlı kitapları oldu. Son kitabında da içinde yaşadığımız dönemin yakın gelecekteki önemli problemlerine göz atıyor. Bugün kendisiyle 3. röportajımı gerçekleştiriyorum. Dolayısıyla önceden kapsayamadığımız konulara bakmaya gayret edeceğiz. Kitapların hepsini okudum. Fikirlerinin birçok bölümüne katılıyorum. Aklımda kalan soruları da burada sizlerin meraklarını da giderme adına kendisine yönelteceğim. So, Yuval, first, welcome once again to Istanbul. I hope your visit is cool with you.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
This is our third interview with you, which makes me very lucky as a journalist. And I will try to avoid the repetition, so I will try to ask you the different parts of the topics that you want to cover as much as I can. I read all of your books and I agree with most of them on many thoughts, but like you, I have a lot of questions about a lot of things, so I want you to clarify for me.
I'll try.
Okay,
I don't have the answers to everything, but
help me with that, please. So, firstly, can you describe the future you see? What will define the human, the business, and the government politics?
well, nobody really knows what the future would be like because we still have a lot of choices about which kind of world we want to create. But the future will be shaped by new technologies that we are developing, especially artificial intelligence and biotechnology, which are giving us really divine powers of creation and destruction. For business, for politics, for society, for everything really, maybe the most important technological development is the ability to hack human beings. We are very close to the point when we have enough understanding of biology and we have enough data on people and enough computing power to really hack humans, which means to understand, say, me better than I understand myself. And politically, this means that potentially the government can control my life in ways which were up till now absolutely impossible. In business, this is the most important thing. Every business is ultimately built on the ability to understand and manipulate human needs and human desires. So this new ability to hack humans, it's going to change everything from textile industry to political systems.
I think the world shapes according to our view, from our perspective. As you, I think, also agree, even though we feel like everything gets worse, at least statistically, it's getting better, it seems. And it seems humans always find a way to overcome the obstacles. What makes you think that this time it won't be as such?
Well, I'm not sure. I hope that this time too we will be able to overcome the obstacles. We've done it so far with most of the big challenges that humankind confronted, but there is no guarantee that this will continue also in the future. And there is at least one big challenge that so far as we haven't made much progress in dealing with. It's only becoming worse and worse, which is the ecological challenge. For centuries, we have been unbalancing the ecological system, and there is no solution in sight. So I try to be optimistic, but I think that the best we can say about the situation of humanity right now is that things have never been so good as they are today. Things they are better than at any time in the past. Things are still quite bad, and things can become much, much worse. So you can understand it in different ways. You can be very optimistic. Hey, it's better than in the past. you can see it in a much more pessimistic way, that there are still many problems and things can go much worse in the future. So there are both perspectives out there.
Just to give a brief perspective about the 21 lessons for the 21st century for our viewers who have not read the book yet. So they are, let me name it a few, disillusionment, work, liberty, equality, community, civilization, nationalism, religion, immigration, terrorism, war, humility, God, secularism, ignorance, justice, post-truth, science fiction, education, meaning, and meditation. Well, it seems that we're heading to a future where very few people is going to determine very big populations' destiny in terms of politics, in terms of technology, and so on. Is it possible to expect a positive outcome from this scenario?
Yes, there could certainly be positive outcomes. I tend in my profession as a historian and thinker to focus on the dangerous developments, not because these are the only options, everything is going to be bad, it's simply kind of a division of labor. People in private industry, people who are leading the technological revolutions in AI, in biotechnology, they naturally focus on all the positive scenarios and on everything that can improve. And therefore it's kind of my job as a historian, as a social critic, to balance it by focusing on the more negative developments. But certainly there are positive developments. To give like a simple example, today, every year, more than 1 million people are killed in traffic accidents.
Yes.
Traffic accidents kill more than war and crime and terrorism put together. Now, if you switch from human drivers to computer drivers, to self-driving vehicles, this is likely to reduce traffic accidents by at least 90%, because the vast majority of traffic accidents are caused by human error. So this is a wonderful thing. Similarly, if you look at healthcare, thanks to development in AI and biotech, in 20 or 30 years, we could give poor people far better healthcare than the richest people enjoy today. For example, you could have an AI doctor on your smartphone that monitors your body, your health, 24 hours a day, and is able, say, to identify diseases, whether flu or cancer, when it is just beginning and it's still very easy and cheap to take care of them. This is something that today even the richest people in the world don't have. So there are wonderful opportunities with the new technologies, and nothing is deterministic. It depends on the people who are making the decisions, whether AI and biotechnology will be used to create a kind of paradise for everybody, or a dystopian situation in which a tiny elite benefits from this development, whereas most people are completely pushed to the side.
Isn't that the story now? Isn't that the situation now? We're living almost exactly the same thing. A very few elite is benefiting from technology and flourishes from that.
Well, the situation at present is not so bad. I mean, first of all, there has been an immense improvement in the living conditions, not just of a tiny elite, but of billions of people all over the world. 50 years ago, the main concern whether we can feed all the people in the world, and famine was maybe our greatest problem. Today, even in developing countries, more people die from eating too much than from eating too little. And hundreds of millions of people came out of poverty in countries like China, like Turkey, like India, in Latin America. So there has been significant improvements. The danger is that in the future, more and more the power and benefits of the new technologies will be concentrated in the hands of a tiny elite. Whereas most people will not be exploited, they will be irrelevant. In the 20th century, to build a strong country, to build a successful economy, you needed millions of people. You needed as many people as you could to work as laborers in the factories, to serve as soldiers and officials in the army, in the state administration. But now increasingly with the development of AI, the wealth and power of a country depends less and less on the majority of the people. And in 20 or 30 years, we might reach a point when most people suffer not from exploitation, they actually suffer from irrelevance, which is in many ways a much more dangerous situation to be in.
So at that point, it seems like these issues are more related with human nature than technology. So can we be wasting our time trying to solve these issues by technology? I mean, can humans define the future, or it will be the case of the evolution of technology?
Well, it will be both. I mean, history is shaped by the interaction between new technological inventions and human desires and human emotions, because every technology can be used in many different ways. And it's humans who ultimately decide what to do with it. People invented writing 5,000 years ago. You can use writing to write poetry. You can use writing to compile tax systems. And in ancient times, writing was above all used for taxation, not for poetry or for writing history. Similarly, you invent radio or television, you can use these mass communication systems to brainwash people with the propaganda of a single dictator like Hitler or Stalin, or you can use the same technology to create a very free and vibrant market of ideas, of different genres, entertainment. So the radio doesn't care. The radio waves or the radio set doesn't tell you whether to use it as state propaganda or as entertainment and free press. So it will be also in the future with AI and biotech. They can be used in very different ways, and it's, as you say, it's ultimately up to humans and to human nature to determine these questions.
Okay. Well, we all have questions, and you have 21 very major ones, and you underline 3 of them as the most important of all: the nuclear
war,
weaponization,
climate change, and technological disruption. These are the main challenges that we face.
We all have these questions, but we don't know who is going to answer all this. I mean, they are just like hot potatoes. Everybody is passing to another. Who are we addressing with these issues? Who are going to solve this? I mean, okay, we are aware of it, we are sensitive about it, but who's going to take care?
We are still hardly aware of it. I mean, when you look at political discussions around the world, nuclear war, climate change, and technological disruption are not the major political issues in almost any country. If you look at, say, the latest electoral campaigns in the US in 2016 with the rise of Trump, or you look at the Brexit debate in Britain, nobody hardly talked about these issues. The main issues were immigration, terrorism, very different things. And who is going to solve them? The only way to solve them is through global cooperation. You can't expect a single country or a single leader to solve climate change or to solve what to do about the rise of AI, because this is far beyond the scope of any single government. Yeah. If you're worried, for example, about genetic engineering, you could say ban genetic engineering in Turkey. You say it is unethical. Humans should not play the role of God. But Turkish government has no control over scientists in China or in the US. So if Chinese scientists are beginning to use genetic engineering on humans, which they just began doing, very soon, even the Turkish scientists or Turkish government will feel compelled to do the same because you wouldn't like to stay behind. If you're afraid of the dangerous potential of something like genetic engineering, the only way to regulate it is through global cooperation.
Okay. At that point, you frequently underline that no single institution or governmental body is sufficient to solve these risks of the technology and so forth. Are you addressing something like global government or corporation? And isn't it another threat to humanity itself?
No, I don't believe in the ability or even desirability of having a global government or a global empire. I think nationalism and national identities still have a very central and important role to play in the 21st century. I simply think that, contrary to what many leaders are telling us today, that to be a good nationalist in the 21st century means to be a globalist. Because if nationalism, if people think that nationalism is about hating foreigners, then yes, there is a clash there between nationalism and globalism, can't go together. But I don't think nationalism is about hating foreigners. Nationalism is about taking care of your compatriots, of the safety and prosperity of people in your country. And in the 21st century, the only effective way of taking care of the safety and prosperity of people in one country is by cooperating with the other countries. That's the only way to do it. So I think that we still need the basic framework of nation states and nationalism and so forth, but just the politics of every nation should be far more focused on global issues. If you have an election, so the main thing that politicians, or one of the main things politicians should be talking about, is their plans to deal with climate change, their plans to deal with the dangerous potential of AI or biotechnology. And if some politicians don't care or don't understand these issues, then people shouldn't vote for them. So we still need national politics and national governments, but focused on these global issues.
And it seems that as much as we become more aware of the situation, we will be more demanding from those bodies, right? Is that so?
Hopefully, as people in different countries are more aware of the dangers of climate change, of the dangers of the AI revolution,
they're going to ask
they
their
should
governments
demand
to do
their
something.
governments to do something about it.
Exactly.
And hopefully this will lead politics in a more global direction.
Okay. National Geographic is trying to explore and interpret the universe as much as it can with... I was watching a documentary about the colonization of Mars, and I was watching a documentation about climate change in Africa and so on. These efforts, I think, make us more aware of the situation in the universe. Where are we living and where are we heading? Do you think this makes a difference?
Yes, I mean, in the end, it's all about the human mind and where our attention is focused. If you open the television or read a newspaper and everything you read about is terrorism, oh, there is this terror organization and this terror attack, then naturally your attention focuses on that. And also in your political opinions, you constantly think, what is the solution to terrorism? But if instead of focusing on that, you watch, say, documentaries about climate change, you read an article about pollution, this will change your perspective. Terrorism today in the world kill about 20,000, 30,000 people every year all over the world, which is terrible, but air pollution kills millions every year.
Or flu.
So you should take things in perspective. And I think it's a very important mission of the media to focus on these critical global challenges. And documentaries about things like climate change or things like even planet Earth and its history is a key way of getting people to have more awareness and better understanding of these things.
My last three questions have very short answers. We have now 21 lessons for the 21st century. How many will we have for the 22nd?
Hopefully we'll get to the 22nd. I mean, that's the first challenge, getting there. If we get to the 22nd century, I try to be a realist.
Okay.
I think that we have overcome immense challenges before. We can do it again, but there is no guarantee.
Okay. What will be the next book about?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, maybe it will be a children's book. We are thinking I'm thinking of writing something for children.
And lastly, how do you feed yourself mentally?
I'm actually just now on the way to India to do a 60 days meditation retreat.
60 days.
60 days.
Like a silent meditation?
retreat,
Really?
no computers, no smartphones, even no books
You
or
say I
paper and
talked
pen.
enough.
Yeah, I talk so much the rest of the year that for 2 months I can be completely disconnected, just observing the reality inside. And that's the best food and training for the mind that I know of.
And lastly, for our viewers, what can they do personally for making the future that we would like to see come true? Personally.
Personally, I think one key thing is to get to know yourself better, because actually get to know your mind better, because this is the tool with which you do everything else in the world. And secondly, you need to cooperate with other people. I mean, 50 people in an organization cooperating together are far more effective than 500 individuals, each doing something alone. So if there is something you really care about, it could be climate change, it could be the future of artificial intelligence, it could be anything. If you really care about it, you need to join an organization and cooperate with other people, because you can't change the world just by yourself.
You are always nice to have chat with you. I hope we can meet again in another chance and benefit from your thoughts. Thank you for having us and giving this chance, and have a nice stay in Istanbul.
Thank you.
Thank you. 21. yüzyıl için 21 ders kitabıyla bir kere daha gündeme gelen tarihçi yazar Yuval Noah Harari ile İstanbul ziyaretinde bir söyleşi gerçekleştirdik ve insanlığı bekleyen 21 ana sorun başlığında bizi nasıl çözümlerin kurtarabileceğine göz attık. Ben Serdar Kuzuloğlu. Başka bir söyleşide yeniden görüşebilmek ümidiyle.